The effects of factory farming have become a national health crisis. Factory farming is the practice of raising large numbers of animals for food in confined indoor spaces using intensive measures to advance animal growth, prevent disease, and maximize profit. Factory farms have completely dominated the agricultural industry. According to recent studies, over 95% of U.S. farm animals are raised in factory farms. This type of mass production of meat has created a breeding place for deadly diseases such as E. coli, Salmonella, and MRSA that is being spread among animals and humans. Factory farming has become a serious issue because it affects all humans, including vegetarians and vegans alike. People who do eat meat are undeniably affected by the dangers of factory farm meats and the diseases and bacteria that result from these hazardous production methods. However, whether you eat meat or not, no one can escape the tremendous pollution created by factory farming. Being that I'm a student at Elon University, I was able to conduct extensive research on the dangerous effects of factory farming and what needs to be done to put an end to this type of mass production. The harmful effects of factory farming can be relieved by placing stricter regulations on large industrial agriculture companies and the diets fed to their animals, as well as instituting more cost-incentive methods of pasture-raised farming nationwide and offering financial relief for agriculture companies who seek healthier farming options. Due to the overcrowding that occurs in factory farms, disease spreads rapidly among animals. The animals' immune systems are compromised due to their confinement and the amount of toxic waste present that is not disposed of properly. In order to cut costs and enhance profit, farmers feed their animals cheap diets that they would never eat in the wild. Also, animals are fed genetically modified grains such as corn and soy, which their digestive systems are not designed to absorb. Aside from unhealthy grains, an undercover investigation by the Humane Society showed that many factory farms were feeding their animals diarrhea, intestines, and carcasses of dead farm animals as a way to cut costs and increase protein supplement. Not only is this practice inhumane, as farmers are forcing their animals into cannibalism, it is unhealthy to both animals and humans by fostering bacterial diseases such as E. coli, yet it is not restricted by the FDA. Factory farmed animals are also treated with heavy antibiotics to enhance animals' growth and prevent illness resulting from overcrowding, which weakens their immune systems. This overuse of antibiotics has led to a rise in antibiotic-resistant bacteria in humans through the consumption of these meats. Scientists have found that many diseases are becoming more untreatable in humans, such as staph, influenza, and MRSA, due to the consumption of these bacteria, and claimed that the world is heading towards a post-antibiotic era. Factory farming also significantly affects our global environment. These intensive production methods, commonly used in factory farms, create vast amounts of waste and greenhouse gas emissions, along with consuming and polluting our natural resources such as air, land, and water. Further, the health of those who live and work near these farms are seriously affected by pollution from animal waste, which often causes respiratory issues, skin infections, nausea, depression, and even death for people who live near these farms. Likewise, because animals like pigs, cows, goats, and sheep emit such enormous amounts of greenhouse gases, a study conducted this past year revealed that factory farming has made animal agriculture the #1 contributor to global warming. Because these facilities are so large and overcrowded, a huge amount of energy is required to cool, heat, and ventilate them, and a disproportionate amount of land resource is devoted to growing crops such as corn and soy that go directly towards feeding these animals. If we want to continue to live healthy lives and live in a healthy environment, the hazards of factory farming need to be addressed. One healthy solution would be to put stricter regulations into place on the feed and drugs administered to animals, while also creating a monetary incentive for companies to move towards healthier farming techniques, targeting the largest industrial agriculture companies that make up the majority of the industry. Emphasis on creative innovation, responsible disposition of waste, as well as tax breaks and low-interest government loans for the purchase of land would contribute to making healthy production of meat more financially attractive to industrial farmers. While this solution helps alleviate some of the dangers of current facilities, in order to solve the issue completely, we need to move away from factory farming as a whole. The way to do this is through pasture-raised farming, in which animals like chickens, cows, and pigs are raised outside in large grass pens. Allowing cows and pigs to graze as they naturally would, and chickens to search the ground for bugs and worms, eliminates the need for large facilities that consume our resources and produce huge amounts of gases and pollution. No longer would there be any need to supplement the animals' food with antibiotics and grains because the animals would no longer be confined with thousands of others where disease spreads quickly. The animals would be rotated daily to different pens to provide fresh grass, allowing the previous grass to grow with a minimal amount of manure to replenish it. Because huge amounts of land are devoted to raising crops to feed factory-farmed animals, in order to make the transition to pasture-raised farming, this land would be converted to pasture space, as would the land devoted to large indoor facilities. Many people, however, continue to defend the economic benefits of factory farming. For example, one argument is that because factory facilities are so large, they create a significant amount of jobs. While factory farms do create jobs for many people, the quality of life at work for the employees and health effects they suffer are enormous. Like I said earlier, the health issues that result from pollution are tremendous, but there is also an incredible emotional strain on employees as well. One expert on slaughterhouse experiences stated that workers often become sadistic and brutalized by what they have to perform daily. Given both the emotional and physical effects, there would be a considerable demand for higher quality health care and mental health treatment to compensate for their work environment. Many people also argue that factory farming is the most logical form of producing meat, as they produce the majority of meat in the world. However, the reduced quality of the meat and the negative health effects it has on the consumers are not worth the risk, as medical costs to compensate for the unhealthy meat are expensive. While some argue factory farms produce job opportunities and are an effective way to mass-produce meat, the harmful effects of this practice significantly outweigh the benefits. To solve these issues, we need to move away from factory farming and seek innovative, healthier farming practices that are more profitable for the farming industry. Recently, consumers have become more aware than ever of how their food is produced, which has begun to raise demand for healthier alternatives to factory farming. Some supermarkets have started to carry organic produce and grass-fed meats in order to address consumers' concern about products. Support of locally farmed produce and community-based food companies is a way that we as consumers can offset the impact of factory farms. The Shop Local movement has created relationships between consumers and farmers which do not exist with factory farms, and has therefore led some consumers to support their neighboring businesses rather than large factory farms. However, much more needs to be done. Continuing to raise awareness of the harmful effects of factory farming is one of the most important aspects of solving this national health issue, combined with stricter regulations, financial incentives to encourage healthier alternatives such as pasture-raised farming, and economic support of smaller, more locally focused farms. To petition the FDA, promote feed regulation, and to learn more about how to eliminate factory farming, visit www.aspca.org and www.fda.gov.